Well, folks, we are getting ourselves into second draft of the day. W versus TT. TT clutched out, I think it's fair to say, a game 2 with Hoya's Cannon. It really does feel like WE had that game in their hands. They did manage to close that out all the same. Sejuani immediately banned away by TT this time, interestingly enough. And that leaves me wondering what that first pick will be. We'll see exactly what will be up on the table. The Lucian, very important for UCal. It wouldn't even surprise me to see that being an early lock-in. For him on that side, but potentially could be something like that. Leona also left up and available. Ashe, lots of big power picks still on the table. Last ban coming through from Team WE. Ashe still available, that Lucian's still available, and of course the Tristana. How could we forget about that as well? I'm just so used to seeing that. I'm very surprised to see that get through to the last bans. UCal, the man with the blue hair on your screen, very, very good at that champion, as it would happen. So what's your first pick going to be? You're going to give over the Leona to Mark, very comfort champion for him. You're going to pick that up yourself. There's no Sejuani if you want the, in regards to the easy engage options, so that Leona does go up in value too. Zyra, something that Yanxian was locking in very, very easily. That was the first pick from WE in that last game, and looks like it will be that first pick here for TT. Locked in. Now WE, they could lock in something like the Ezreal. Ezreal's another important pick here. Not normally a first pick priority, but pretty good when we get around to this stage of the draft. Abel starting to go over a couple of his different options, and it will be that Lucian locked in, and that Leona. We were wondering whether either of these would be a first pick for TT, instead favoring Beichuan on that Zyra.
That's going to be an interesting thing to track. Of course, Yanqing had a really good start to the game on that side. Really great counter gank in the lane top side. Became a bit of a menace as the game went on. But it was still not quite enough to carry things over the edge. And we have seen Zyra's really take over the game. I understand the takeaway of the Lucian from UCal. Certainly after a very solid game himself. And the Zeri instead early on this time around. Not leaving 1xN to last pick, but getting him in a bit earlier. Of course, we have seen a little bit of a flex of that Zeri around and about to various lanes, but worth noting, likely 1xN.
No, I think this is likely UCal. Because
you really reckon?
Yeah, because he likes playing against the AD carry versus AD carry matchup. So he played that into, he's played that in that mid lane.
It's not into the Corki, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be, but it's into the Lucian. Okay. So it's AD carry versus AD carry, so I think this is completely fine.
Yeah.
Or either way, it is a flex, but I think that this is equally likely to go between the two of them, depending on what's left up in that second round. Hoya now goes towards the Gnar instead of going towards something more like that Cannon. Kind of surprised it wouldn't be the Cannon if they've hard forced onto that before, but maybe they didn't want the double AP top side of the Zyra and the Cannon.
Hoya being asked to blind pick, I don't know why I've said blind pick, yeah. No, that's certainly very
We're only
British.
supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Well, only fools and casters here deciding that some.
No, that's not only fools.
I know. I'm just going for
I'm
I'm just going for various British references.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, it's fine. And I couldn't remember where it actually was from, so I went for a reference that would make some sense. It was the honest answer, but you've now revealed my ruse, and it's all gone wrong. We're into the second phase of bans. As we will see whether Yanxiang, new jungler to the league, will be granted the Nidalee pass here in game 2. Bans away by the side of WE. Getting rid of the Ashe, knowing that's a potential flex. They're also getting rid of the Braum because that bot lane proved pretty obnoxious as the game went on.
It does, and you can see that TT currently don't have great engage options. So, and also on the side of WE, they are now assuming with that Ashe ban that there is that threat of that Zeri going to the mid lane. We've highlighted that. It is still a flex. It's still important to do that. Like Keep gives some cutting credence to that. So WE. What are they going to lock in on for? I mean, Ezreal is kind of up and available. Feels like that one is a bit of an easy one if they want to go to it. Very easy with that. Leona locked in very easily.
They do exactly that. The Leona plus Ezreal combo has been around about now in the league and just generally in Pro League since the last few patches. Really, it's such a good combo, and Ezreal right now feeling pretty strong. So, any ways to make Leona even better always feels great too. What, though, do TT want to round up their composition with? Feather on the Alistair shouldn't surprise anybody, and they will lock that one in.
It's his most played, so it's definitely okay in that sense. It's fine into the Leona too. If you get hit with a Zenith Blade, it roots you, but it doesn't stun you, so you can technically pulverize Leona out of the full combo. So there's some play to be made around that. You can struggle against the Ezreal, but it's fine enough. So what are we doing? Zeri mid, Zeri bot. What have we got in terms of other answers? The Misfortune of the Kai'Sa, maybe potentially quite powerful here.
Certainly got a fair amount of lockdown between the Zyra and the Alistair. It's not Zyra and MF in the same lane, of course, unless we're seeing the return of Emperor Palpatine. God bless Static Shiv Alistair from all those years ago. But all the same, Rocks, Tigers lives on here. Sort of split apart, though, the combo is.
So last pick now going to be... Okay, is that Varus top? I think we're getting... Okay, so we're getting one of two things. Varus top or Lucian top. What I would imagine the Ezreal has to say in that bot lane. I mean, look, technically, all three of these AD carries could have been put about the place, but Wayward looks at that Nara and says, okay, yeah, I want that lane dominance now. Locks in that Varus top. We've seen it very occasionally. It was a Mirwin special over in the LEC for Mad Koi over there, so bring it out now here. Wayward, there's not too much to threaten him in regards to big lockdown. The Zyra's not great at ganking.
And we have said that, generally speaking, at least in lane, Hoya has been someone who is a bit more susceptible to a lane dominant top laner, and Wayward had a very good first half of the game. Hoya, fantastic flanks, made some incredible game winning moments in that game as well, especially considering there were a couple 2v2s that didn't go quite the way they were hoping for, even if the individual 1v1 wasn't necessarily going absolutely awfully or whatever, but still, it is fine as we are preparing here to get onto the road.
So, we're getting ourselves into game 2. TT clutched out that first game. WE, I feel like they will be smarting a little bit from that one. We're here down in the Nirvana group. Both of these teams been on better form than I think a lot of people had expected for them, especially WE coming out of that group stage. But Thunder Talk, after their first series, I was worried about them, but it feels like they've bounced back just fine enough. Into game 2, we go very shortly after this. Does feel like Thunder Talk coming up with a lot more clutch plays as the series and as the games roll by. They have looked like they are starting to really start contending for those top 4 spots. Wouldn't surprise me to see them qualify into the effective last chance qualifier for those playoffs as we get through onto the Rift.
Level 1 plant knocked out there with a spear from Yanxiang. Very rude of him. That's my way of gardening. I just take a big spear and throw it at whatever plant offends me.
So, for the record, folks, I'm pretty sure this is the second top lane Varus game we've seen in the LPL ever. Now, we have seen, over this year, 200 other games of Varus in other roles. So we've seen, you know, this is 0.5% of the sample size of Varus. Feather's going to spot the level 1 coming through. Feather will be able to just... He's not going for a big play. The team's too split. But TT, at least having the information that WE have walked into their jungle.
If you want to know why I suck at League of Legends, I wouldn't have been able to resist pressing W there.
Yeah, I somewhat get that. The temptation is very strong. Something which TT have failed at here is to secure a level 1 kind of bush advantage for Hoya, which means that Wayward gets a good trade right from the off. Is going towards the press attack. There are a number of top lane builds you can go towards. God, I mean, Kerberos had this really disgusting build of like loads of mask stacking for like 8% increased damage. 2v2 ends up blowing Summon for Summoner as we're rusing about the other side of the map, but can definitely see that the HP going just about in the favor of WE.
I will say I think Miss Fortune here isn't really dressed for battle either. She's here in pajamas, right. And that isn't really a weapon of war. They are NIP, right? Though I feel like NIP should be playing nearly permanently with pajama guardian skins. I think that's probably got to be a contractual obligation, right?
In one way, I'm kind of sad that Urgot never got his true Star Guardian skin. He was just a Pajama Guardian, but also it was really funny. Excellent. It is also an excellent skin, so I'm not complaining too hard in regards to that one. So TT need to see what they can do towards this bot side. One extent locking in this Misfortune. I mean, I wonder whether they could have locked in the Varus as well, because they do lack some engage. They don't. It's quite hard for them to lock in everything. But the Misfortune, very, very good if they get the combo in place. I think if WE overstep and they dive into CC, this Misfortune will determine everything. And Yukal, as we said before, bringing that barrier into the early lane, loves playing this into the AD carry. So as soon as that was locked in, the threat was there. Yukal just having a real like favored pick here in this area.
I'm also looking at Yanxiang here is going, right, I am pathing towards the lane where I'm going to have loads of pressure for obvious reasons, and Yukal might have to be a bit wary here. Will he be able to get towards the wall before Mark can land the Zenith Blade? Gets over, Ignite comes on down, and Yukal, forced to barrier, gets out alive, though.
Yeah, but Mark really benefiting from Abel winning his lane. Abel's going to teleport back towards that bot side. He's gone a little further. That's not... I wonder if Beidrouin could have put down a W plant for slow, but it wouldn't have really meant wouldn't have meant much in regards to that bot side. Going to kill pressure all the same. Abel winning that lane for Mark will allows him to roam across the map and threaten TT across other lanes.
And now Hoya at 20% HP. Yanxian can look to dive this. The mini Nara is going to be coming out shortly. Will Hoya be forced to flash? No, gets to crunch away and is just about fine.
However, the top lane domination of the Varus it's already here, folks. Press the attack, early base damages. Yeah, you don't really want to be stuck around facing off against Varus in a 1v1. It's really quite funny. It's this kind of... God. Think about the flowchart of AD carries over time. Why do AD carries have a support? Well, it's because they're weak in lane and they need time to scale, but they're weak. So why are AD carries played as solo lanes? Because they're really good in the first couple of levels of the game at bullying out lanes. Oh, so why do we need the support then? I think that's the problem we've had over time. Basically, because AD carries, balancing this class around, like, being supported by another person is actually quite boring for the AD carry players themselves. This allows them to have more agency. But this is the problem with AD carries have agency. They get played everywhere because a lot of the fallbacks of these champions isn't there right now.
Well, yeah, and especially if you are designed around being a later game damage, you're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be one of the better users of items as Yukal. A little bit by Fofo there, but you're supposed to be one of the better users of items. That's what you're supposed to be there for in some ways, is getting those items in, really using the triple scaling threat of attack speed and crit and attack damage all combined together to do lots of late game damage. But if on top of that you've also got early agency, then you just have everything going for you. The weakness of your class perhaps isn't there. It's just, as he said, a little less fun to play for the AD carry player because it feels like your choices are limited earlier on in the game. It's pretty miserable for solo queue in particular.
So it turns out that they do have a support in their lane. It's the junglers, Yanxian and Beidrouin. Making this effectively a 2v2 lane there. So no first blood coming down just yet. Yukal was forced back earlier, but both him and Fofo get themselves
a mini raptor.
The culls. That's going to be fine. Yanxian gets himself another mini raptor, but won't get himself a big one. Beidrouin smites it away.
Trying to get some little bits of Yukal again being jumped on by multiple members. Will be sure to be able to get towards the wall. Did Spark Surge just to get outside of that javelin toss range. Didn't actually been able to cross the wall there.
Folks, on average, in the 2 games we've had 5 AD carries each. In both our games. 1 in top lane, 2 in mid lane, 1 and 2 in bot lane as well. This is absolutely ridiculous. And like
even TF is an honorary AD carry.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because that's part of the 5 in that first game. Like, it's AD TF. He is an AD carry at that point. So yeah, the Varus much more on the traditional side, but both of our games today we've had 5 AD carries. Sure, this role is completely fine, folks. This class of champion is completely fine.
This is miserable. I don't have level 6. I can't walk up here. There's a control ward in the bush. Wayward can potentially just... Yeah, he can still throw out the chains of corruption. There's just nowhere to go.
Yeah, and if he has the W, if he has the W arrow, this is looking pretty bad.
Boy, there's potential flash available. Mega Gnar going to be a little ways off. That was a flash on forward for the Q. And Wayward just doesn't miss. Throws out a Cassante emote. He knows he's being a Giga Chad this game.
Yeah, WE played around Wayward so heavily in spring to allow him that lane advantage. TT, they need... That's a great double root.
Gets the double root, and that will be a double kill, surely being delivered to Yukal's waiting arms.
Whatexcent doesn't even get any kill participation. It's like, okay, yeah, Yukal, you can get this one. Ults through the next one as well. Yeah, you can see that, you know, Whatexcent doesn't even look to that last hit on the other one. Yukal getting so much gold. This needs to balance out across the map. This Gnar is going to be beyond anemic. They are going to be bloodless at this point. Varus in this top lane, dominating lane, and also been isolated from the rest of the map. Because Yanxian has been playing this Nidalee and Mark's been roaming on the Leona, it has been really hard for anyone in TT to get past this effective like blockade towards topside. How do you get to this lane to help?
Episode 1, we've got the Trade Federation blockading Naboo. Hoya needs to get the Jedi to come and sort his life out.
So we need to rely on, I don't know, like oh god, I don't know. I was gonna say Qui-Gon Jinn and like Obi-Wan Yukal. It doesn't work very well. They're really trying. Wayward, no flash. There is a chance of a big play here.
That's another good route. Wayward in danger, but remember, has no flash. Likely to be put under the dirt here. Beichuan might be traded back as Yanxiang comes on out, but a flash away keeps him alive just for now. But Yanxiang flashes in turn and makes it the 1-for-1, but Wayward falling is important.
So TT, they run the blockade, they get towards topside, and they get themselves past that blockade of WE to get themselves something into Hoya's lane. It means that Wayward can't get himself this continued lane domination.
Beichuan, that's
Beichuan, get over it! That's incredible!
That's the one.
So the problem is Beichuan, not Beichuan.
And it's Qui-Gon Ishin, or 1xN.
Oh god, I really like though. Beichuan Kenobi, that's great. I love that. Oh, that's wonderful.
Ken 1-3. He's 0, 1, and 3 currently. So yeah, it's all coming together, guys. It's all TMP. I need to let this go. This is Illuminati levels of trying to make things fit together. Beichuan being potentially jumped on by Yanxiang alongside the rest of WE. Will lose the Gromp. Plants can't secure that even on the retreat.
And now they're trying to set up the blockade again. Hoya once again, like, he didn't even kill that ward there. Oh, Hoya, they did so much work for him.
There's going to be the rest of TT turning up trying to defend this. Gets the pulverize into the Stranglethorns. There's still 4 members though. And there's no Plant really to do lots of damage. Yukal not coming on over. They're caught between so many turrets. Mark will likely fall, but can he keep the rest of his members alive? Wayward stepping forwards. The Hyper Proc's nearly there. There'll be Meganar coming as well. Hoya could do so much work. Yukal gets that one. They go way too far to try and punish the Snark.
Massive Stranglethorns from the Jedi of the jungle. Beichuan Kenobi gets himself so much DPS with the increased enraged plants as they get a huge amount of DPS over. And that means the Padawan at the mid lane, Yukal, comes through for another double kill. I think he's going to be graduating to knight status anytime soon.
Well, we'll find out, I suppose. Darth Wayward was finally put down there. He was doing something that's considered unnatural to the Jedi, playing ranged top laners. And they were a bit too deep here between the 2 towers.
Yeah, he was so dominant in lane, and yet he could not quite transfer that towards the rest of the map, fall into his own folly. Look how much damage Beichuan does across here, and Yukal, he holds onto his wall ride for a really long time here. Make sure that the spear is down, has his passive fully stacked up, and they managed to fell that Lord of the Sith in that top side. He brought out something unnatural to the lane, and he's been exposed in front of the Galactic Conference here. TT get themselves so many kills onto this area. Really, really big point of power. He's going to be getting himself towards big power points soon.
And don't get me wrong, this Varus is still very far ahead of the curve, is a very, very scary member, but bluntly, giving up 4 kills to Azeri early on is pretty rough going, and this Varus will still have to play side lane in long lanes as the game goes on. If the map control starts getting lackluster, it won't be easy for the Varus. We've seen it before when this kind of champion is forced to play with less information in lane.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things which has become really apparent again is, so you will notice that Yukal is running barrier. That is not a global. Now the thing is, if you are good at timing your roams with the Zeri, your E, your wall ride can basically be an extra global, a semi-global, because you're going to get to plays about 3-4 seconds earlier than maybe you should do at that point, because the wall ride's really, really fast and allows you to cross different bits of terrain, much like a Bard can do that for his team. So Yukal getting himself in a point of power, he can push in lanes and get himself onto the map very, very quickly, is something that W need to be really, really wary of. The grubs are going down, WE, they need to now go into this big disengage comp.
Beichuan getting jumped on, Solar Flare lands into the Zenith Blade afterwards, could make that Zyra very, very afraid, but the bullet time disengaged as well. Hoya tries to get in the backside, Abel will get away, but it'll still be Wayward who goes down. Vengeance for the lane, the team fights that much harder to execute. Plants are everywhere as well at this point, as Beichuan puts that one down. Finally, Feather falls. Fofo picks that one up, the culling blocked by the various bits of foliage. Another route lands. Yanxiang in danger. Wall ride from Yukal. Barrier available. Hoya hopping on forwards. Fofo looking to maybe hunt over the wall. Will not be able to jump in to get more. Big fight for Thunder Talk.
And it's once again WE finding themselves engaging into the disengage comp. Fantastic play from 1xN and Feather to do the full contact team fighting that we know and love here in the LPL. Beichuan's ulted, sure. Let's go ult your backline so you can't get into the big play as well. I'm sure we'll get a replay of this. This is what I mean by full contact team fighting. Beichuan has no flash. He is at risk. He gets stunned out. What is Feather's response? Immediately all in. What is 1xN's response? Immediately all in. Even though Beichuan is ulted down, he survives because of the plays from the rest of his team, saving him with their own form of engage.
watch how many plants end up in this fight now as well. Base at 20% HP. It doesn't matter because the plants have all the HP you need.
It's like to go back to Attack of the Clone, Attack of the Clone. This is basically just Felucia. This is just like the giant jungle planet for those of you who are knowers and enjoyers of that one. Yeah, like I'm just waiting to see like an Acklay turn up in the background and start ripping people to shreds.
Oh man, I was wondering whether the plants would count as the clones themselves with a million more on the way at this point in the game. But there we go, Django Fett. Now become a gardener.
They're very impressive. You must be very proud, Beitran. Here comes the Stranglethorns. Feel that one. Stranglethorns a forced choke in that one too. As TT go towards the dragon, start again playing around their photosynthesizing friends.
I find your lack of plant-based puns disturbing as we finally engage onto Mark, who will be on the wrong end of the mark, I suppose. Is trying to get out of danger. Dragon started. WE sort of here to contest.
Yeah. They almost had their own savior in this one too. They could have had themselves a Luke. They had themselves close enough to the Mark Hamill instead.
No.
Basically the same thing, but he's not going to be able to defend this themselves. Dragon going down.
Cullen comes on through, gets Feather to half HP, but really that's all there is to write home about. Plants continue to be very obnoxious at this point as Beitran picks up a couple items. Feather down 20% HP now. Probably has to be a little bit wary on this Alistair.
I found what TT's mid lane is. You have that's going to be the ult coming through, but Feather has his ult too. Not going to be that much, but luckily, you have Obi-Wan Kenobi, but they also have Yubaka. Yubaka in the mid lane.
No!
You ever seen a Zeri Terraman's arm off? I think we'll see that in this game.
Is it going to be Hoya solo? Is his pal in the other solo lane?
Yeah, I think so. We have 1-2-D2 for 1xx.
Oh no! And the Millennium Falcon Feather.
I'm having far too much fun on this one. Oh my god. Okay, right. We're gonna get ourselves back into the Rift Hours. TT get themselves, one of those early grubs. They get themselves those 2 dragons, and they have themselves even in the gold lead. But considering how lane dominant the Varus is meant to be, the Varus is ahead. But the fact that the overall gold is even is going to be quite problematic for WE. They should have been further ahead with the lane dominance from this top side.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And again, they tried to play towards it. It was looking really good for a moment or two, but then 2 plays go wrong. There was the initial kill that goes against Wayward. He gets dove a little bit later. They do a dive between 2 towers, which Thundertalk are there and willing to respond. And credit to Hoya, again, a player we have criticized pretty heavily for being put on the mother of all weak sides and doing pretty well. But I feel like I might just have cursed him. Nope, Feather's here. Should be okay. Yeah,
so
no, I got
have
worried
to
for a
say,
second.
CT were awful at playing around side lanes in groups. The fact that Beitran and Feather have managed to be so effective covering Hoya in this game shows the growth that they've had as a team. Go back and watch some of their side lane play from the first round robin of groups. It was really, really bad. The fact that they managed to save Hoya from what could have been a very cruel and unusual fate here against the Varus is very, very important. Now this is going to be the cross map from TT taking down first turret of the game in top side. Gold spread between Beitran and Ukal. Again, that very powerful duo here going in for a second charge now. Comes landing on in. I don't know why that's the theme tune I've decided for the Herald charge, but just every time I see it, it happens. I'm not going to lie, I'm not even sure what that theme tune was. Pretty sure it's for when when Lancelot is running towards the castle in Monty Python's Holy Grail. It's similar to that. I don't think it quite is that, but it's kind of what it's inspired by, yeah. In second thought, let us not go to top lane. It is a silly place. Let us leave that Varus alone. Well, it's the Herald. It's a landowner, right? They're looking for the vast tracts of lands to bring gold and wealth. Okay, look, I'm aware that Star Wars has probably made a larger pop cultural impact than Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Go watch that anyway. It's great. Fantastic movie. Very much enjoy that one as... I don't know, I don't really know how to follow with that one, but yeah, go do it. In my LEC casting debut, I got to make an ex-Matty joke, as in an ex-Parrot joke, which I was very pleased with. He's gone pining for the fjords, he's gone to meet his maker, he's an ex-Matty. We got to do the same with X-Bear on the side of FPX recently too. It was a fun time, yeah. Just any time everyone has an X in front of their name, I start making those references. Neurons activated. Exactly. So this time, W are forcing onto Ukal on the bot side. You don't really want to be going in towards that Zeri with the barrier, flash, and ult with 6 kills behind them. Fofo is going to get the gold from the side lane turret, though. Have they gone too far, though? Hoya has Mega Knight. It's good timing for him. This could be very scary. Fofo has just dashed, does have the flash, may be forced to burn it very early here. He's in a pretty tricky position, doesn't flash quite yet. The follow-up CC is brutal. Ignites on him, and the chain lightning claims the life of him. The solar flare, not quite in time. Ukal flashes in. They finally goes down, but the damage surely is done. Wayward nearly takes Feather on the way as Basewan flashes to get more Qs, more autos. 1xN is nearly here. What time is it, he says?
Time for some bullets, you imagine, but he's yet to pop the ultimate. I'm forced to hold my breath. Does get one back. Feather goes down by the corner of the turret as the plants keep spawning. Where's your weed killer? WE, because Thunder Talk claimed the entire team.
It's as if a million voices cried out, and we're suddenly silenced. The super weapon of the Misfortune ultimate just comes in to clean up the rebel base, and there's this bot lane turret. TT, they get themselves a full team ace before 18 minutes. That is a hell of a play coming through from them. 1xN even gets himself onto an Infinity Edge power spike beyond this point. And I will say, there is a difference between a Gnar teleporting in and a Varus teleporting on the back out path for this play. Feather comes in for a big engage, comes up with Hoya. Very surprised that the flash didn't come through from Fofo before this point, but no, Wayward finds himself massively in the backline here. The only reason he gets to turn one back is because he has such high base damage, and the fact that the rest of his team manages to clear up one beyond this point. But that is not the same as a flanking Gnar. The flanking Varus is not it. And
the Chains of Corruption landed onto Yukal, otherwise he would have been able to free fire a bit more, and then finally they were ready and willing to fire, and Alderaan falls here in the bot lane.
Okay, so TT look to see if they can once again fly themselves into the position here and see if they can get themselves forwards. That's a big Varus already used, but not really getting that much out of it. Big cooldown used.
They are going to be around this dragon, will be sole point for TT, and the plants are all in line. I just don't know how easy it's going to be break through. The Stranglethorns come on through. Feather into the backline with a headbutt, and the pulverizer somewhat interrupted. In goes Hoya with a double crunch to get into the backline as the transformation comes on through, and Yanxiang is put to the sword, or I suppose the bolt. Well, there's no turret to play around. Wayward gets one. Fofo's going to try and TP out. Flash! Crunch! And a wallop brings down what Fofo was trying to do. No teleport to safety.
Oh, and sadly Abel, the last remaining messenger. Not to worry, still flying half a team comp, I guess. Even less than that as 4 members hit the ground. TT have blasted WE off the map around these dragons and around the bot side. Considering that the Varus was meant to be so far ahead and Hoya is making these plays, Hoya is 100% my MVP for this game so far. I know that Yukal's picked up the plays, but given that Hoya's been under all this pressure and has made this much team fight impact, it has to go celebrated here. He's managed to get so much value out of this.
And genuine credit. Again, we say it because it's true and it's important to highlight players like this. Hoya's not had a great year. He's really struggled. But this series, he has really stepped up when it has been damn hard to do so. Those matchups have not been fun.
TT have found themselves a new hope in the top side. This player who was, what this team has so often been about Yukal and 1xN. This series has been about Hoya. His Kennen, his Gnar, even under pressure, has been the difference maker. The fact that Wayward has been the player who stomps down on players who are less confident in top lane. The fact that Hoya can run away with this series has been so important.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And now you're looking at this Misfortune 2,500 gold ahead of the Ezreal, building towards that third item. A Bloodthirst from Infinity Edge is already a scary combo. You're nearly at a third for the Zeri as well, and once those come on through, it'll stop being just AoE and it'll start being really nasty damage. Ryalize in for the Zyra as well. She is got a 10-stack Dark Seal. She could debate a Medjai's, frankly.
Also going to say this too. Beichuan's defensive play, his ultimates have been some of the best ultimates I've seen out of Zyra play so far, consistently. 4, 5-man ultimates. Now, I do think they've been set up for by W because they're diving into the disengage comp, and that's a problem. They're diving into bullet times. They're diving into the Force Choke, the Stranglethorns. It's very
standing over the Rancor pit.
They've been staying up. Yes.
It's not a Rancor.
Java. Oh my god! I think we need a Rancor. We need a Rancor.
I would have a Rancor now.
That'd be great. And he just fires like the bones. He kind of like they keep in the Rancor pit. That could be the boomerang instead.
Could we have Nunu and Willip? We're like
no, it's just like no.
Willip's
so
the Rancor and Nunu's like a mini Boba.
Wayward's coming in, maybe trying to catch up Beichuan. He doesn't have flash, and suddenly TT are not here.
Yeah, but Yukal's coming on down. Feather takes up so much time, and now on the back end, Wayward's in danger. Gets knocked up, tries to get something back, but already 2 members are dead, and of course it's 1xN who picks them up. He may fire when ready one more time. This by team comp is fully operational. 3 dead already. And Yanxiang and Fofo will be left alive to try and rebuild what remains of the rebel base.
What are we doing? Teleporting in as Varus? Wayward, buddy, like the Wayward's your name. It's not meant to be your position in the team fights. Goes into the backline multiple times. I understand the angle there, trying to catch out Beichuan without the flash, but he puts himself into the worst possible scenario. Beyond that point, TT take themselves a Baron. This is going to see them through to the dragon spawning as well, and this is This is beyond, like, the musings of the dark side of League of Legends. This is just bad. Wayward puts himself out into a teleport position onto an enemy ward, and he's completely gunned down. TT well and truly accelerating this game. The game one was clutched out. It was a bit slow. It couldn't quite find their advantages. This one has been domination from TT, and WE throwing themselves into the jaws of the enemy.
And 3-item misfortune with the Rapid Fire Cannon to get those love taps coming on through. Even those incidental autos now will really start to sting on people. He's got so many ways to just throw down that Bitter Poke. The Zeri W, the plants from the Zyra. Misfortune waiting for those rapid fire options and making it rain. He will see taking 10% of his HP bar just off some of those very low effort poke options from TT.
And you know what? TT, normally I would trust them to play out a lane dominant style for Wayward, because Wayward is a lane dominant top laner. He plays towards snowballing through his lane. The fact that he got shut down was, oh god, but it's just not had the impact he wanted to. And ult does go wide.
Oh boy, Stranglethorns come on through, and Abel of all people is the one who's caught up on top of the mark now, in danger. Bullet time comes flying across everyone. Wayward has to flash away, but Yukal's now in the backside of them all. There was always another member, always two there are. And AD carries in this game will be the Sith Lords, perhaps, as TT match on into the base.
And it's Thunder Talk marching their way in for an inhibitor at 24 minutes with the Baron still remaining. They might even push for more. Fofo has flash, Yangxian has flash. Looks like TT, and they're not, well, maybe they are looking for the end. They're at least looking for minimum 2 inhibitors.
Wipe them out. All of them. The inhibitors are under siege. 2 of them fall. 1 remains, but I don't think the rest of the base will be standing all that much longer. Nexus turret falls, and TT decide the message has been sent enough.
Feels like they've missed the memo. They're trying to go into the battle station thinking that it's, shield generators down, but no, by the time they engage, I think they'll find this battle station is fully operational. And as they go into the plants, as they go into the bullet time, sadly, the entire WE fleet has just been shredded, much like episode 6. But the problem is, it's not even just happened the one time. It's happened multiple times. They go in for a big engage. Look, Abel's trying to go up and follow up and stuff like that. And immediately they find out that, no, it was a trap all along. It feels like TT. It is that. It's WE. They're just engaging into a disengaged comp. Why do they think this is going to work?
Unfortunately, Admiral Akbar falls apart off screen a little bit.
Oh, come on.
I mean, I'm sorry. That still makes me angry. We'll move apart from that one. And there isn't really much option for the Rebel base. It's looking like a very alternate universe at the Star Wars. Right? We said that Wayward was somehow the Dark Lord of the Sith that is on the Rebel team now, so who knows?
Great blue drink to spot out what could have been a comeback play for W. Now the problem is they've overextended, looking for that Fnatic brush. Fofo trying to teleport away. He won't be stopped in this one.
Ooh, no, not quite, but Mark will still fall down. Fofo loses half his HP bar, but stays alive.
Fofo, much like that first game, gets himself just out of the jaws of this team comp from TT, but it doesn't save them. It's still Ocean Soul from TT. It's still them pushing in for more and more, getting themselves likely a last inhibitor. W, what have they got left in the tank? What do they have in the tank to begin with?
Who knows? It's looking a little bit limited. Maybe they have got a hope and a prayer, but it'll have to be some absolute magic as Yanxian caught in between the base gates. He's being jumped on by Hoya. It's a Star Destroyer versus a very paltry troop transport at this point. What are you before the full might of the Empire? Hoya continues to auto down the Cougar in the jungle.
Yeah, call him the Tanty 4 the way that one went. He gets ran down as the bullet time comes out once again. All weapon systems online.
Mark goes down as well, and that'll be it. The Nexus falls. Death Star is primed and ready to bring TT to a clean 2-0 victory.
It is thunder and lightning today. Yukal celebrating as he always does. It's so hard not to like Yukal, the blue-haired man in the mid lane for TT. He was such an emotional lightning rod for this team in 2023 because he was the player that was carrying them. He couldn't quite make it to playoffs in that summer, made it briefly through in spring. I feel like with the way that they're playing, they are looking maybe like the best team here in the Nirvana group despite a weak first showing. They get themselves a good 2-0. I'm not going to call it clean because of that first game. I feel like they had to clutch that one out, but we showed there in the second game, particularly the jungle support movements have looked a lot better from them on a macro sense. And on an individual level, I think Hoya has really started coming into his own. This was a great series, and particularly because it's against Wayward, who is so often played through individual advantages, to overcome that and just be the better, more impactful top laner throughout this series, despite the fact that he was put against very difficult lane matchups in both games, is really, really impactful.
And again, and you can be a good weak side player, and it won't matter sometimes because you haven't got the support and you just bleed out. It's the direst treatment. You don't get to survive some of those things in a 1vx unless something miraculous happens. The fact that TT did come to support Hoya, did come to prevent some of the really aggressive dives, made absolute waves in that game too in particular, and serious credit to them for that turnaround and a really good game too.
Welcome back, folks. Hi, I'm Alex, also known as Nymaera. You've probably heard this a million times now if you've been on the channel before, but this is also my brother. Yes, genuine brother, Sam, Initialise. He's in the title as well. So both of our names in the title. If you've been enjoying today's games, good. That's what we're here for. We're not paid by Riot to do this. We're using our co-streaming rights to give you a similar experience to LPL English when it's not on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, because the games here in LPL are still played every day of the week. So there's a lot of games to catch up on, and because of that, we have ended up saving about, it should probably be about, okay, 15 minutes until we're on stage. Well, Beichuan gets the MVP. Beichuan Kenobi. You heard it here first. He's even using the Force. He is. Look at him. He's using the Force. He's using the Force. There we go. Oh my word. Help us, Beichuan Kenobi. You're our only hope. Oh no.